All right. So interesting, right? Andrew has, if you hopefully read my email from last night, I'm recording this on Saturday and March 2nd. And Andrew just rolled out, which I had heard him talk about, but I swear he was not going to do it this semester. But he rolled a new version completely of his course. Now, the good news is a lot of the content we've already been through still. I think there's been some nice modifications for what I've seen so far. I look forward to seeing a bit more of it. He's broken down into several new sections in the code we'd already kind of covered, mostly covered. He did add a section on debugging, I think, which is great. And then the section we just finished, the asynchronous weather app, he did that, and he did it with callbacks only and not with promises. And they did it with the request library. So, but I think that not, but the way he did the code, the way he wrote the code is so much cleaner. And I think that's a natural evolution of anything is like, because he did this course in 2016. And so when he redid it this time, he has now gone through several actually this is his third iteration of this course, and he's seen what students had a challenge with. And I saw this too with the whole API thing. I mean, most of you got this, but it definitely was like it was such a new concept. And so I really think this, obviously this section, I think some of it's just completely a repeat, like the call stack, asynchronous basic, but I also think those are great things. So I'm not going to make you code up this section again because we've already done it, but I definitely recommend that you at minimum watch these three. Okay. Callback chaining is really great too, because you just clearly the code for this is so much cleaner even without doing promises. But I recommend, and here's the other thing is, you're going to need to have this code to actually start the section we're working on this week. So that's the other benefit of having these downloads for each section. So, if you are feeling like you want to completely do this, I'm open to you doing that this week in lieu of what I already have assigned. And then next week, anyway, we could talk about that. So if you feel like you really want to watch this and code along, then, that's fine. And we will talk about that on Wednesday night. All right. And then we'll do what that means though, is you're going to end up doing this whole section the week after, which is okay too, I think, because this section is actually a little bit lighter than what we were going to cover in his prior section, because he actually ends up breaking the part of deploying it out into another section, right? So we will do this section next week. If you decide that, what, I feel good about it, I'll review the definite ones that Rio's mentioning, which are these last three. And I actually have a learn together for you about this as well, just because I want you to, even if you don't code it, download that code and you can bring that code into your repo. That's fine, right? And you can just make it some kind of, God, what did I do there? Anyway, some code commit message saying, starting point for the section that we're going to end up doing, which is 7, or at least a starting point or ending point for section 6. Okay. So anyway, FYI. The other thing is this also changes what I was set up to do for Develop It 3, or the Dev 3. So I'm going to have to really think about that. So and I've also then, because I had some additional content that I had loaded for you all for the code ups. And actually, I was giving you updates as I was going through the content. And I've now made these optional, right? So if you are wanting, because this I think is still really valuable, because one of the reasons I was doing this was I felt like we needed a bit more in covering how to set up front ends. But also I like the reference point here that's created by the Node Express generator. So Anyway, I've made these now optional, given you some content to change these to reflect. Oh, I realize this probably needs to go up there, but anyway, because this content actually needed to go down here. That's what happens. That's the other thing is like, so there was, I just want to tell you this. My initial reaction when I saw this was, oh my God, this is the last thing I need given my schedule. Cause like this weekend, I wanted to work on my talk for next weekend. And it was like, but then after looking at it, I'm like, oh, I'm actually really glad about this because I love that we're going to look at some new content, some more modern, like, because JavaScript again is changing so rapidly. We're going to see, in his organization more modern practices. And I feel like in this sense, he's kind of slowing down a little bit. I think he's realized where maybe he went too fast. He needed to add some more content because he's seen the user questions. Anyway, enough of that. I just wanted to give you an update, tell you what's going on, tell you what I've changed, right? And then give you, and again, I've changed the Learn Together to just basically have you make sure you have that reference point for the end of section 6. And then, you can kind of test yourself by just maybe looking at that ending point and seeing, can you read that code and understand what it's doing? So actually, when we're together on Wednesday, that's the first thing we'll do is we'll look at that ending point before we start looking at the first couple of lectures that we have for the Code Up. Okay, so that's my plan as it stands today. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.